Hi everybody, this is Dr. Amy back again, giving you a look at one of my favorite classroom activities and one of my students' favorite classroom activities. It is a digital breakout room. Alright, this one was created for my Introduction to Anatomy, just like it says. So this is the website, and I will link it below for you in the description. There's really only two things you need to do to prepare for this breakout room. One is to make sure that your students, at least one of your students per group, has a Google account. I let my students do this in groups. I find that the activities are such that it requires a couple of people working on them to really fully get all the answers. So as long as one of them can log into a Google account, which is a free account to make, then you can access all of these activities. The second is you're going to need a couple of index cards or post-it notes for however many groups there are, and there should be a keyword written on there. And that keyword is oblique, O-B-L-I-Q-U-E, all in caps. All right, so from a teacher prep standpoint, that is all you have to do, and then start this website. This is a public website, so it's easy to get to. And so this is what you are going to see when you log in. So you should see right here, it says welcome to the Introduction to Anatomy with a little next button, which we'll click in a moment. To the right hand side, you're going to see a Word document. If you scroll down a little bit, you will see a photo and then a nice little button. If you click on it, it will be a link for a puzzle, which you will see coming up in a few moments. So to start the activity, simply have the students click on the next button. And what you are going to get is some instructions, and in this case, there is a linked document. Have your students read the instructions first. It says open the spreadsheet, this is the link, make a copy. There are going to be 9 pictures, put them in order from smallest to largest. So simply click on the link, it will open up, and you will click on make a copy. Once your copy is open, this is what you are going to see. Students can fully edit this. So if a picture looks a little too small, it can simply be resized, moved around, whatever it is that's easiest for the set of students to have a look at what each of these pictures are. Also in each of the pictures, you will see a single letter somewhere, right? So here's a letter K, a Y, this one happens to have an R, right, an F. And this has to do with the levels of organization of the body. And as we know, the smallest level of the organization of the body is the atom, which is the letter K in caps. All right, if you go back to that other tab into your Google form, and it does tell you to put your answer in all caps, and I just want to let you know that for Google Forms, it is case sensitive. So if you are doing different types of cases, upper, lower, I would specify that inside the question. I do everything in all caps. I find that once my students do a few of these activities, they're very familiar with putting everything in all caps, and it makes things quite simple. Okay, so our first or our smallest level, if we're going from smallest to largest, that atom had the letter K in the picture. So our first answer is the letter K. But that's not quite it, right? We have to go on to the additional levels, right? Next would be a molecule, so on and so forth. I will give you the full answer in just a moment. However, I do want you to notice that if the student's answer is incorrect or they have the wrong levels of organization, you are going to get this screen, and it will say that it is incorrect, try again, and they will not be able to move forward to their next tasks. In this case, I'm just going to put in the password, to do this activity, and I will link to that. And my Pay Teachers account will also have the answer key. Once the answer is correct, you will see it turned off that orange screen. We're in a white screen, and we are able to push the next button to get into our next activity. All right, again, this one says to make sure that your answers are in all caps. Again, that was mostly for me, just to make it easy for the students because this is case sensitive. All right, so it says to go to the matching puzzle to scroll down towards the bottom of the page. So as we scroll down, I did mention that there was a link for a puzzle. If you simply click over it, it will open up a new tab to a super teacher tools site that I happen to love. This is a matching game. I use this for all sorts of things, and you can use this anywhere. They're very simple to create. I will create a video on this soon. But what you are going to see is a bunch of terms at the top and some definitions at the bottom. All right, in order to play this game, it is quite simple. All you do is come over the definition that you want to match, or the term that you want to match the definition. You click on it, and you simply drag it, okay, to that definition. If it is a match, it disappears, like you just happened to see it do. Okay, if it is not a match, okay, you will see that they will head back up towards the front. That is how your student knows that they have not found the right term to the proper definition. Okay, when you have gone through all 12 of the definitions, there will be one term at the top left over. Okay, in this case, that is the key to moving on to your next activity. In this case, the leftover term happens to be metabolism. So we're going to come back to the previous screen. Okay, scroll back up. And it asks, what is the leftover word? And again, make sure your answer is in all caps. And of course, it has to be spelled properly. If you put in too many extra letters, right, it gives you error messages as you try to move forward. So we are going to head forward. All right, activity number 3 also has a link associated with it. Okay, in this case, it happens to be a spreadsheet. Okay, if you open the spreadsheet, just like the photo, you will make a copy so that the student can access. What you should notice is that we've got a bunch of pull-down menus toward this left-hand side and some instructions at the top. Okay, so it tells you for each organ to pull down and choose the proper body system. Okay, once all of these are chosen correctly, a code word will appear, okay, inside this grayed out box. That is their code to move on. This one can be a little bit tricky. I will provide again the answers and the code for you to move on, because if even one of these is wrong, nothing appears in this box. So they have to go back and figure out where they made the mistake. I'm going to pause here, put some answers in so that you can see the code word pop up. Okay, here I am, and I have answered all of the previous questions correctly, and I'm down to my very last answer. If I put in the last answer incorrectly, nothing comes up. So we know that there has been a mistake made. However, once you've got all of your answers in correctly, a keyword pops up, and this word happens to be electrolyte. So you can go back to your previous tab, and the answer here is, of course, electrolyte. Okay, click on next. We should get to the next activity. This one has a picture right inside the Google form, and you can see that it's the regions, right? We've got our quadrants here on the left-hand side, and we've got our abdominal regions here on the right, and each one of those sections has a unique letter. And your clue is RLQ, which you're hoping your students understand, stands for right lower quadrant. And in this case, the right lower quadrant is indicated by the letter L. Umbilical is Y. Right, so on and so forth until you have gotten all in order. And again, don't forget that we've got to be capitalized in order to move on. Okay, once they've got all of these correctly identified, they will be able to click the next button for their next activity. All right, this one involves you a little bit more as an instructor. All right, so it tells you to go out and get some pictures or short videos of some various things. And these are terms that they should have learned prior to today. And this is where that code word oblique comes in handy. So there are 9 terms. The students have to go out and get pictures that represent each of them in order. They cannot use the same object or the same person more than one time. That is my rule, so that is what I have written in. I think this just keeps things more creative. All right, so first they have to take a picture of something superior, which means to be on top of. They can use something high on the human body. They could take a picture of a ceiling or a light, right? Whatever to them indicates superior. Next would be medial, which means towards the inside. Okay, then anterior, which is the front. So I've had students do everything from the front of another student to the front of the school building. Okay, as long as that picture represents that term we are talking about, you will hand them that index card or that post-it note once they show it to you, and that post-it note gives them their key. Okay, to move on, and that's where that little post-it or index card that I mentioned right at the beginning of the video comes into play. All right, next we've got some cavities. All right, so most of these are just identify the cavity, as this is an introduction activity. The only one that asks some additional information, okay, is number 2, which is what does it contain? So I'm going to put in some keywords here. I'm going to answer most of these correctly, just so you can see what this looks like. Okay, but you can see that I typed only one of them incorrectly out of the 5 answers. Okay, which means that their first 4 are correct because they're all showing up in white. They're not giving them an incorrect. In this case, I just put it in as pelvic, right, which is the correct answer to move forward. All right, for the next activity, I have actually given a word bank, and the word bank is in all capitals just so that they keep to form and its proper spelling. All right, so your potential answers here are parietal, visceral, pericardium, pleura, or peritoneum, and each of these will only be used one time, and they are associated with the 5 definitions below. So I'm going to go ahead, pause the video, and put these answers in and come back to you in just a second. Okay guys, we're almost done. So I've got those 5 answers in. I managed to match those up. Click the next button. All right, and I've got a picture of a guy here with a plane going right through his body, dividing him into a right half and a left half. And it's simply one question. There is no answer bank, but what is the plane that's being shown here? So of course the answer is the sagittal plane, okay, which will get them onto their last activity. Okay, their last activity is a little bit of a tough one. It is about homeostasis. So it does say that it is the toughest. Read the information, pay close attention. So there are 4 clues because there are 4 letters in all caps that will unlock this last clue. All right, I first take a stop at the term for the normal value. That term happens to be set point, and if you look at the Word document, it says the normal value, and set point is capitalized, and if you hover over it, you get a pointer. And when you click on it, it will open up to a giant letter D, so you know the first letter in this answer is the letter D. Then I go to the picture, which is just a little bit lower, for the part that detects. And the part that detects happens to be a sensor. And if you hover, you will see you get a little hand over the word sensor. And when you open it up, okay, you get the letter L. So the second letter is L. Then go to the writing. So back to the words. A term for all that is kept normal, and of course that term is homeostasis, and if you click over homeostasis, the letter E pops up. Okay, so far we got DLE, and last but certainly not least, I drop off the organ that helps to keep me in check, which happens to be the effector, and if you open that up, it happens to be the letter X. Okay, so once you've got all 4 letters in, you can click Next. All right, I have given them a success is yours if you work hard to achieve. Students can then enter their names. I do keep these for record-keeping purposes myself, which is not a problem. I could certainly make a copy for you if you want to download your own documents. You could certainly do that, or I could forward them to you. Hope you enjoyed this activity. I will certainly work on doing some videos in the future that will show you how to set up some of these activities. We'll start with something a little bit simpler, but if you want to use this in class, feel free.